Howdy.
Hey!
Welcome to the Island Shuffle.
It's our show!
It's the Island Shuffle.
It's the Island Shuffle!
And it's a show where me, Bean Levier,
And me, James Brown.
every week we watch an episode of the television show Lost.
Holy shit!
Yeah, you know, remember that old show?
Jeepers Creepers, I mean.
Did you just... Okay, we'll get to this.
I have no clue what just happened.
Okay, we watch the show Lost, but we don't watch it in order. We decide a random episode preemptively, and we watch it, and we don't watch it in the right order, and that leads to all kind. We don't even know what the heck's going on in this crazy old show.
It's not even in the right order,
Yeah.
and we do it in the wrong order.
We do it in the thing about it is typically you would watch it from episode 1, then episode 2, then episode 3. On and on all the way till episode 120 or until you lose interest.
Unless it's Parks and Recreation where you start at season 2, episode 1.
Yes, exactly. Sometimes you will have to skip an episode or two if everyone universally agrees it's bad. See also that season 2 of Twin Peaks.
And I feel like the way that most people watch Lost, the show, is that you watch season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then you watch season 2.
Yeah.
Then you watch season 3. And then you watch half of season 4.
Yeah.
And then hopefully you never watch it again.
That sounds familiar. That sounds like your experience with Lost.
I feel like I did it right the first time.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm doing this.
Yeah, I don't know why you agreed to this insane experiment that we've been going on for 18 episodes now. This is episode 18.
Our podcast can now legally drink in our province of Quebec.
Yes, it can drink in Quebec and at least one other province as
Alberta.
well. Alberta, that's the one.
Alberta.
And in honor of the occasion, James made us some little cocktails. Clink. One more clink.
Clink.
Clink. Gotta love that clink. It's delicious, actually.
Let's have fun with this.
Let's have fun with this. What did you freaking make us?
I made us a derby, but I looked up the derby cocktail, and there are like 40 different variations, all with the same name, and they don't even resemble each other in the slightest.
Right.
So I made a version that has bourbon and sweet vermouth,
Right.
and triple sec, and lime juice.
Well, listen. It's Friday night, and it tastes really good. So what's the problem?
What is the problem?
There ain't no problem. The other thing I
The
want...
problem...
Sorry, go on. What's the
No,
problem?
you go, because mine was about to derail the whole conversation,
Okay.
so you go first.
That's okay. This is also a non-conversation. The thing that you reacted to earlier was that I pulled this Post-it note from my butt. I think I sat on it, and I thought it was a recipe for something. I thought it was a recipe for this very cocktail, but it is actually a recipe for something else entirely.
It's a recipe for scones.
Oh, that's great.
It says scones. Do you want to know the recipe?
Sure. Read it verbatim, please.
2 pounds lemon.
Great.
A lot of fucking lemon. 1 cup of milk.
Ah.
2 cup flour.
Sure.
3/4 cup whole wheat.
Where are you? Okay.
Half cup maple syrup.
God.
1 tablespoon BP.
The company?
1/4 tablespoon BS.
Oh, boy.
Salt. Half a cup of oil / earth.
Earth?
That's what it says.
Earth.
1 cup cranberries, 425 degrees, 12 to 15 minutes.
I don't want to eat or make that, really.
I want to eat it. I don't want to make it.
Fair.
The earth thing sort of weirds me out a
Yeah,
little
the
bit.
earth thing sort of weirds me out. And there was something else on there that weirded me out, too.
Was
Oh,
it
no.
the BS?
I think it was the BS. Yeah, it was the BP and the BS. I don't know what that is. I don't want to eat that.
We'll find out.
We will find out together. Welcome to our cooking podcast. It's called Cookie Time.
Cookie time.
But we're going to take a break from Cookie Time and get back to the actual podcast called...
The Island Shuffle!
Da-da-da-da!
Wow!
Wow. Okay, let's go. So this week we watched an episode called...
Season 4, Episode 7.
An episode called Season 4, Episode 7, named Ji Yeon. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
It's named after
A baby.
a little baby. Just a little baby.
Oh, just a tiny little baby.
Just a tiny little baby.
Oh, it's just small.
It's just so small.
It's just like if a human were like small and shitty.
Yeah.
Literally shitty.
Very shitty, very screamy.
Incredibly low IQ.
Can't do nothing. You gotta feed these bozos. They're so dumb they won't even feed themselves.
No.
Sheesh.
God damn it.
Sheesh. That's what I say. No more babies.
Yeah, let's get rid of them.
I'm over him. It's me, King Herod, and I have one thing to say. No more
he
babies.
Did that.
He
was
did that.
Like, you know what? Chill with all the babies for a minute. And it almost worked.
It almost worked, but that rascally Jesus pulled one over on him.
He was like, fuck you, I'll just go be born beside animals.
Yeah, exactly. Sick burn, King Herod. This has been Bible Hour with Reed and James.
So the show is about a baby now.
Yeah, the show's about a baby. It's also about cooking. And it's also about a show called Lost. So this week it's season 4. This episode is actually nestled right between 2 episodes we've already seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right between The Other Woman, which is episode 6, and it's right before.
What was the other woman?
That was Juliet is a homewrecker, and there's a poison gas station on the island.
Oh, shit. Yeah, okay.
And the episode after is Meet Kevin Johnson, where we learn about how Michael is a sad spy on a boat. So right between those comes along Ji Yeon. So for some context, there's a boat. There's a freighter. It's full of people.
We're in season 4 here,
season 4, baby. And
we got a boat.
And we're flashing forward. We don't even know what the heck. Who's off the island? We're going to find out. It's a lady named Sun.
Sun is not on the island anymore. You know where she fucking is. She's in the hospital.
She's in the hospital giving birth to a baby.
It starts out and she's in a hotel room and she picks up the phone and she says, and I quote, "Yo, this thing's coming. Let's blast off." And then the ambulance comes.
Really sick line. Really sick verbatim line from the show Lost.
I thought that was courageous.
I thought it was bold, and definitely I pumped my fist a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, she's going to face this head on. Now, here's a strong female character.
Exactly. Yo, this shit's coming. Let's blast off on this one.
Next, let's start with the flashbacks because that's or the flash forwards.
What are they really?
What the heck? Who knows? So the flash forwards we see our Sun is being.
Oh, do you want to do a fun thing here?
Sure.
Because in the flash forward story, there's Sun's perception of things or what's going on in Sun's world, and then what's going on in Jin's world.
Yes.
So do you want to do Sun and then I'll do Jin?
Sure. All right. Sounds good. So Sun says, "Let's blast off." And then next we see Sun is she's at the hospital, and guess what? Everything's going wrong. Their doctor isn't in, and they said they need a new doctor.
We have to stop for a second.
You have a piece here, I believe.
There is, at no point in any cinematic experience, be it television or movies or even like a fucking commercial, the maternity doctor is never there.
No.
It's always a replacement doctor. I just started watching a different show, and the first thing that happens in the entire show is the doctor isn't there. In the movie Knocked Up, Like It or Lump It, the doctor isn't there. There have to be other examples.
I'm blanking on some, but there's definitely maybe never in the history of depicted births in cinematic mediums has a birth ever just gone okay.
Yeah.
If it has, it's off screen. If it's being depicted, it is just raw chaos all the time. And I understand that the childbirthing process is hard and messy and all that, but the maternity doctor needs to be there at least one time.
Exactly. This isn't just like normal like physical difficulty or like normal, this is a large very tasking experience. This is like everyone might die now. And we're not sure. You might die, your baby might die. The whole the damn system might die.
And it is very much that way in this scene as well. Sun is very much worried about the state of her baby. The lady's trying to get her jewelry off, but she's like, "Oh no, I don't take my ring off. That belongs to my husband." And she's like, "Well, it's for the swelling." And she's just like, "No." And she's like, "The baby can't come yet because Jin's not here." And the replacement doctor is just like, "I'm sure he'll be on her way. I'll give you medication in the meantime."
Meanwhile, Jin is like picking up his phone, and he's no, he's not picking up his phone. The first thing he does is he goes to the store, as you fucking do, and he goes in the store and he finds the largest panda that the store sells, and this is a store that specializes in large stuffed animals.
Yes.
So you can imagine how big this panda is, and he takes it and he goes to the checkout and he's like, I need to get this. The baby's coming.
Yeah.
And the person at the cash is like, oh, good for you. And then he walks out of the store and he gets a cab, and the cab comes. And then he puts the pan in the cab, and for some reason, he gets a phone call, and for some reason doesn't get in the cab, but steps out to take the phone call. And he's like, what? The baby's coming? Like, hold on, baby. Just wait a second to blast that one off. And then, right as he's saying, just wait a second to blast that one off, mid-sentence, so you don't get the whole sentence, someone bumps him, and he drops his phone. And then what happens? But a motorcycle runs over his phone. And then what happens? A person frickin' steals his cab, panda inside, and he's going, what is my day? What is my day?
It's such hijinks. I can't believe how like slapstick and hijinksy it is. It's
That
very
is
much
exactly it.
It's very much Hurley running to go catch the plane. It's just like, why?
Exactly.
You're like, okay, I guess this is just gonna be a goofy slapstick scene for a bit.
Exactly. Everything just goes wrong.
Oh boy.
Even though none of those things make any sense.
No, that's all. This all gets resolved at the root if Jin just gets in the cab like how a person would. But it's also compounded by the further insanity of the don't drop your phone. Second of all, third of all, that motorcyclist, it's not that busy. Like
No.
the motorcyclist could have.
He didn't have to run over the phone.
Yeah, exactly. Third, the cab could have waited. Like, there's so many solutions.
The person getting in the cab could have been like, what the fuck is this giant panda that I'm sitting
I guess
inside?
this is mine now.
Yeah.
Step on it,
Even
driver.
though literally 20 seconds earlier, I watched this man put this in the cab, who's
Yes.
still standing right beside the cab.
It's very madcap. And boy, poor Jin just can't catch a break.
He really can't.
Meanwhile, Sun is, everyone's saying, hey, Sun, you gotta get ready for this baby. You gotta get ready for this baby. And the baby is coming. You gotta do it. But Sun refuses. Sun's waiting for her husband. And she sees a random guy walk by, and she's like, Jin, is that you? It's not Jin. It's just some rando.
He has long hair. He doesn't even look as attractive as Jin does.
He does not. Meanwhile,
Jin is like, well, I gotta get a panda. So he goes back to the store with all the big stuffed animals, and he asks the shopkeeper, do you have another panda? And the shopkeeper is like, no, I don't, but look at this nice dragon. And then Jin points at a big panda in the store and says, what about that one? And the shopkeeper says, that one's on hold. It's already paid for, because I guess that's a thing that happens with big pandas in the world, is people are just buying these things and leaving them at the store, and the shopkeeper is just holding on to them while displaying them prominently.
The execution of this whole stuff is like all right for how fucking Jingle All the Way it is.
That's such a good way to put it. Holy shit, it is Jingle All the Way.
Literally
it
one
is
writer
Jingle All the Way.
One writer saw Jingle All the Way. That was very good, by the way. One writer saw Jingle All the Way and he was like, you guys, you gotta hear about this crazy movie.
Yeah. Let's cast Arnold as the shopkeeper.
Yeah. Anyways.
Holy shit, Jingle All the Way is a good movie.
Oh, it's definitely a movie. It's definitely a oh boy. Yeah, that's a film, all right. That's a proper film.
And then Jin's like, here's $1 million, and he just pulls out a bunch of bills from his wallet that all just have the number 1,000 on them. And I mean, obviously the audience of the show probably doesn't know how much money that actually is. We don't.
Sure, I don't. I will admit that I do not know the exchange rate.
But
for
they
Korean.
were just prominently displaying the number 1,000. There must have been like 7,000 on that table. And I don't
Sure.
even know if that's a lot of money or not.
Sure.
But there were 7,000 on the table. And he's like, give me the fucking panda. And the dude's like, okay. So he gets a new panda.
He finally gets a new panda. Meanwhile, there's no more waiting. They gotta do a C-section for Sun. Despite her reluctance, she finally agrees to go through with it, and the birth goes through, and there's a lot of screaming as there is in birth, and Sun's hooting and hollering and wincing and grimacing and sweating, and finally out comes a crying little baby. And the baby is wrinkly and newborn, and the Sun's all, hey, it's a baby. That's great. How about that? It's a healthy newborn baby. We thought there were going to be complications, but look at this big old baby. He's great. He's a great big old baby that I love very much. Meanwhile, over in Jingle All the Way.
Jin is like, I don't even remember if he gets a cab or not. Maybe they skip over that part because Jin getting a cab is obviously insanity.
Mm-hmm.
And then he arrives at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And he has his big fucking panda. The panda's bigger than he is.
Mm-hmm.
And he has the panda, and he's walking with the panda.
Yep.
And he and the panda walk, and the panda's there with him.
Yep.
And,
And Jin, tell me more about what Jin does with the panda.
well, there's the panda, and he's big, and he paid $7,000 for this panda, and it's the second panda that he bought, and I can only assume that the first one cost less than $7,000. But so there's this big panda with him.
Yes.
I don't know if it's a mascot for a team or what. But it's like, is there a man in that suit? I don't know. It's a big panda. So he takes the big panda and he walks with it down the hall.
Right.
And then he goes in front of a room, and there's this man in front of the room.
Mm-hmm.
And this man, he's in a suit.
Mm-hmm.
He's a room bodyguard. He's a hospital room bodyguard.
like they have.
Yeah, it's a rich fucking baby, I guess. Because Jin must be rich because he paid $7,000 for a goddamn panda. 7,000 what? I'm not entirely sure. I should look it up, but he did pay 7,000. And then he's like, yo, I'm from this shitty car company. We want to congratulate Mr. Man for being a grandfather. And the whole crowd is like, what?
What the heck? What's going on here?
And he's like, our company's stoked to do business with China. Take this gigantic panda that I paid $7,000 for. And then he leaves. And that's his whole story.
And just in case it wasn't all clear, she has one more interaction with the nurse on his way out.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the nurse says, gone so soon?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, it wasn't my baby. I was just here to give a $7,000 panda. And then the nurse is like, oh, you'll have one soon. And he's like, give me some time. I've only been married for 2 months.
Wah, wah.
It was a flashback the whole time.
Yes, Jin's perspective was a flashback to the time back when he was just getting married to Sun. Meanwhile, Sun's living a post-island life. After escaping from the island, he's given birth, and she hears a knock on the door, and who is it? But Hurley, who has also escaped from the island.
Hurls
McGregor.
He's escaped from the cover of a Weezer CD.
He escapes from the cover of a Weezer CD, and he physically manifests himself in front of Sun's door. And in the ensuing scene, the way they greet each other, I feel like Hurley is trying to do like soft and kind of like gentle.
Yeah.
But it really comes across like the twist is that Sun is now dating Hurley a bit.
That's
for a second
what
there.
I assumed.
For a second.
I was like, is Hurley the
Yeah.
father of Sun's child?
Yeah, because the way the dialogue plays out is like they hug and Sun's like, I'm so happy to see you. Sure, of course.
Yeah.
And then Hurley goes, is anybody else coming? And Sun goes, no. And Hurley says, good.
What the fuck?
What the
Hurley?
hell? That's so crazy.
Sounds like you're about to fuck Sun. It really does.
It really does. If you omit those 3 lines, you have a very poignant scene of a friend meeting another friend's baby. and it's very wholesome. But something about the delivery of those lines really makes it seem like Hurley's making a move.
Especially because Hurley is just that character that this show keeps tossing in unexpected places.
Exactly, yeah.
And so it's like it almost makes too much sense that they would script it that Sun and Hurley are now a thing and like having a weird child together, or Hurley's gonna raise Jin's child or some weird fucking shit
yes.
like that.
That is not what it ends up being. That is not the case. It's just a weird off-kilter scene. And Hurley holds Ji Yeon and is like, "Oh, look at this cute baby." And Hurley says, "It looks just like Jin, doesn't it?" And Sun goes, "Yeah, it does. We should go see him." Cut to the final scene of the episode, which is Hurley and Jin go into a graveyard and sitting at Jin's grave. The twist is that Jin is gonna die.
Jin is goddamn. Well, is he dead at this point?
No.
He has a grave?
First, let me talk about the scene, and then we'll talk about the implications.
Okay.
The scene itself is just mostly Sun being like, I named her after G. I named her a girl.
What do you want to name your baby? Oh, some girl.
Some girl. So she's cradling the baby. She's like, she looks just like you. She was a girl like you predicted. I named her Ji Yeon like you wanted to. You would have loved her. I miss you so much. I miss you so much. And it's a pretty classic, good scene. Sun's crying. Hurley's there. It's a little uncomfortable that Hurley's there during this incredibly personal moment between Sun and her dead husband and her dead husband's baby. But that's how the episode ultimately ends, with the reveal that Jin is ultimately going to die. Except that Jin doesn't really die.
He never dies.
He never dies.
Because there's a later point,
yes.
Right? Where is there a point post-baby, though, where we see Jin?
Yes. Last episode is post-baby. We've seen Jin. The last episode we watched in the podcast, I should say.
What was the last episode again? I asked you
that
this
was,
like an hour ago.
It was a season 6 episode, early one. And by season 6, everyone's all caught up. This is post, everyone leaving the island.
Flash forward.
Exactly. Everyone's, gotten back to the island. Everyone's all caught
and
up.
Jin was just speaking, flawless English.
Exactly, yeah.
What was going on, though? What happened last episode? I remember hating it.
There was a temple.
Oh, it was the temple bullshit.
Yeah, there's a temple. There's an alternate universe. We don't have to talk too deep about it because it was a bad episode.
But that was all post-baby.
That was all post-baby.
And even though there's this scene where Jin is clearly dead.
Yes. And
moments after the baby is born.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty that's kind of so for context. Season 3 has a whole arc where Desmond is predicting Charlie's death.
Uh-huh.
And they commit to it. And the whole mystery is is Charlie really going to die? Are Desmond's visions really going to come true? Is that it? And sorry to spoil, but yes, they do commit to it and Charlie does die for real. And it's executed pretty well.
Yeah.
Compare that to this, where as a way to this is another good way to execute that, I think, where it's one thing we learn in the future, because the whole thing is we're seeing glimpses into the future and we're piecing together what's going to happen. And this is a cool way to learn that a character is going to die.
Yeah.
Except they don't really commit to it at all. Because Jin's fine.
Take it back, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't.
Jin just gets better. Which we haven't seen any of those episodes yet, really much, but
that fucking sucks.
It's annoying, right?
Yeah.
In the moment, it's damn, Jin dies, and then it's that potential just goes super unrealized.
He doesn't die.
Yeah.
You can't unkill someone.
I mean, you can. Sure, you can.
Is Jin a Jesus figure then? Do we have to discuss that? Was he dead for 3 days?
Let's just say he got better.
I guess Sayid was a Jesus figure.
Yeah, remember last episode when
they keep killing people and bringing them back.
Exactly. It has no. This was as one of the first Anyone Can Die shows. It has all the hallmarks and pitfalls of an Anyone Can Die show, which is that you can clearly see who's gonna die and who will never die.
Yeah, of course, right?
Yeah, made all the more apparent by the way we're watching it, where we can just cut through all that bullshit. Of course Jin is not gonna die.
Do you ever think it's cheating what we're doing?
Well, yeah, for sure. But I also feel that's part of the point is we're saying, hey, fuck this. We're watching the show. We're taking the prescribed way of watching the show, and we're saying bupkis to that. We're saying no. We're taking control of this media for our own damn selves.
No one gave us permission to do this.
That's what makes it so bad. That's what makes us the rebellious icons that we are.
That's what keeps me up at night, honestly.
Is this something you struggle with?
Yeah, I sit up at night and I wonder, like, would J.J. Abrams be okay?
Would J.J. be okay? Would Carlton and the other guy, Damon? Carlton Cuse and Damon Lindelof are
How would the guy who played Jack feel knowing that we've watched at this point pretty much an entire season of Lost?
We
haven't had a single Jack episode.
How would the guy named Locke?
We haven't had a Locke.
We haven't had a Locke episode.
We haven't had a season 5 episode.
But we've had several Sun and Jin episodes.
Yeah, we've had a million fucking Sawyer episodes. We've had quite a few Juliet episodes.
I would like to point out, not a frame of Sawyer in this episode.
No Sawyer! That's the first.
Yeah, that's I think maybe the first episode with absolutely zero Sawyer.
You know what I can only conclude from this.
Yeah.
Sun and Jin's baby is the new protagonist. If you take away the protagonist, you have to birth a new protagonist. It's just that's just how TV works.
It's just
I don't know.
sense.
I've watched enough episodes of Jeopardy.
Yeah.
You know? When Alex Trebek dies, he grows another mustache.
Now that's a visual. Now that's something I want to see happen on Jeopardy. Oh God. But I do like the way that we're watching this episode. Seems to like. Not this episode, this whole show seems to like reorganize the arcs because it's not centered around any like progress. It's now centered around characters that we happen to get episodes of bunched up. Yeah. First it was Sawyer, then it was Juliet, then it was Kate. Now it's kind of Sun and Jin.
Yeah.
It's
you don't think about it in terms of like time continuity whatsoever.
Exactly.
You think about it in terms of like someone's actual story because you can have a couple in a row or you can have them bunched together. Yeah.
Exactly. It's interesting. And
we had a couple Desmonds.
Exactly. And you get to see like I don't know. I always think it's interesting seeing like you know Sun and Jin in season 4 are different and the same from them in season 2 and in season 6. What's different? What's the same? And it's I don't know. I'm still trying to find the merit in what we're doing. Still grasping for that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So that's the flashback, flash forward aspect,
and that's kind of like the meat and potatoes of the episode.
I would say the other fucking parts of the story of this episode sort of suck. I feel like the flashback, fast forward. I would honestly give it like an 8. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was funny.
It's entertaining. It's well acted. The twist is like well executed.
Is good.
It's good. It's well executed.
I loved the twist.
Yeah.
I didn't see it coming.
No, not at all. I'm glad that it actually got you.
Yeah, it really did.
It's a good.
It sucked that you said afterwards he isn't really dead, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Sorry to burst that bubble, but like as potential energy, which is I feel like Lost's greatest state. Yeah, it's definitely rules.
Yeah, exactly.
But we do have to discuss the rest of the episode. Unfortunately, there is a rest of the episode.
What happens?
Well, the two main on-island plots, or the two main present-day plots. One revolves around, of course, our heroes Sun and Jin. Sun and Jin are wondering. The first scene we see of them is them discussing. So Sun, for context, on the island is about 2 months pregnant at this point, and she also knows that the baby is Jin's father. Or Jin is the baby's father. Jumbled up that sentence a bit.
The baby is Jin's father.
Yeah,
that sounds like a real thing in Lost.
That sounds like a real thing in Lost, doesn't it? I feel like I could say anything, and as long as I throw character names in there, it would be like, yeah, sure, that's right.
No one just did a double take. Yeah, like you were like, the baby is Jin's father, and they were like, okay, tell me more.
So the coffin belongs to Desmond, and it was all kind of a dream, where in an alternate reality, Kate and Sawyer are entirely switched, and then the conflict there becomes how the greatest evil has manifested as Jack, and then Jack really just wants to kiss Locke, and so that's kind of the whole like pattern of the show.
Well, that's what this episode was entirely.
Yeah,
I thought
exactly. Yeah.
you just summed up the entire
Yeah,
episode.
that's the whole episode.
If you take away the baby thing, like the Jack Lock makeout scene was a good 12 to 42 minutes.
Yeah, it was really bold of them to dedicate an entire episode to a single unbroken shot of Jack and Locke making out.
Fuck, did we just accidentally watch pornography again?
Let me just look at the Oh yeah, this is Jack and Cock. Yeah, no, this is not. This is not. We watched the wrong thing. Turns out.
That was perfect.
So the whole baby plot was kind of weird.
yeah, exactly.
Makes even less sense now.
It was a really realistic porno with a big backstory sort of thing.
Yeah, dramatic backstory and like the twist at the end. Really.
Yeah, the cock was dead the whole time. Wow.
Oh, we are
This
children.
Is off the rails.
This is already this is what happens when you make a cocktail.
True.
The show is of age now, so
That's exactly. The show is 18. If you've stuck with us this long, you've heard at least 28 cuss words.
You've heard so many cuss words. We just made maybe the worst cuss word of all. That is cock.
True.
Hey, so okay, let me look at my notes and get myself. Like,
what if every time that you said the word cock as a protectionary measure to like save her audience from awful language, I just quickly interjected with a doodle doo.
Now that I think would diffuse a lot of the harm that comes from the word cock.
A doodle doo.
A doodle doo. That's great. Oh man, you should try busting that out sometime. So what happens is they're talking about baby names, and Jin's like, if it's a girl, name her Ji Yeon, and that comes into play later, and everybody's sad. Sun is talking to Kate about how last week they went to a poison gas station and they were talking to the freighter people about how, they went to the poison gas station to stop it from leaking or whatever. And Sun's like, that's pretty crazy. I wonder if we should trust these freighter people, if their intentions are really to rescue us or if they have ulterior motives. And Kate's like, yeah, I kind of don't trust them either, TBH. So Sun goes up to Daniel, who is the world's worst liar, and it was really good to see a glimpse of him just sucking at lying in a world where everyone's just like, I'll tell you the truth, if you just be patient. It's really good to have a character who's just like, I don't know, who's just like sucks out loud at lying. It rules.
I don't know. I don't know. The baby is Jin's dad.
So Daniel does that, and Sun's like, all right, yeah, right. You guys are here to help us. We're getting out of here. So Sun says, hey, Jin, meet me in the tent in 20 minutes. Gather supplies. We're leaving Jack's camp and going to Locke's camp. For a refresher, throughout season 4, Jack's camp is on the beach waiting for rescue from the freighter. And Locke's camp is inland in the yellow houses where they are trying to avoid the freighter people because they believe they are bringing harm to the island. So, Sun's like, we're going to Locke's camp. I don't trust these freighter dudes. So Sun's digging through Juliet's camp for baby medication. And Juliet says, what the heck, where are you going? And Sun says, we're leaving. And Juliet's like, no. That's not happening. Let me explain to you my whole deal with babies on this island. Pregnant women die. And that's the whole reason I'm here.
PWD.
Yeah, PWD. It's a classic PWD situation.
It's a pud.
Oh, that should not have had as much of an impact as me. It brought me back to Penelope is what it did. Oh gosh. So they're making Sun and Jin are getting directions from Kate about where Locke's camp is. And then in comes Juliet saying, no, one last plea. You absolutely cannot go. Jin, Don't let her go. Pregnant women really die on this island. This is one of those. I think we've touched upon this plot up before. That's the whole reason Juliet came here. Anyways, pregnant
the
women.
wombs are bad on the
The
island.
wombs don't stay good on the island. And
Classic fucking island.
classic island. It giveth and it taketh away.
Uh-huh.
So, in one last desperation play to keep them from leaving, Juliet says, "Jin, your wife had an affair."
Oh.
Hey, Juliet, fuck you, kind of. It's kind of not your
Yeah.
place to say that. And Jin's like, what? That's crazy, and storms off. And they're sad about it because obviously Sun is heartbroken. Jin is heartbroken. What a betrayal. What an incomparable betrayal.
What could you think of in the world that could ever bring these two lost hearts back together? Is
Wow.
there anything that could just mend this?
Well, listen. During one of their heated arguments where Sun is pleading, please listen to me. Please let me explain myself. Jin is not hearing it. Cold shoulder, fishing pole over the shoulder, just ready to do God knows what. And in comes a character we've never seen before. Bernard! And Bernard strolls in like the king of the castle, and he says, "Hey, you going fishing, Jin? Mind if I tag along?" And then he reads the room and goes, "Oh, whoopsie daisy."
Sorry.
Yikes, I should go off. But Jin goes, No. Come on, let's go. And the boys go out for a little fishing on a boat. And Bernard chats about how they're both the two only married dudes on the island. And they're like, oh, and he's like, oh, the old ball and chain. But also, isn't it beautiful? I'd give up anything for her. I love her so much.
Sometimes it's tough, but other times it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And you catch a fish, that's karma right there. We must be the good guys, and I must be Bernard.
Yep, that's our introduction to the rich character of Bernard.
Nice old man.
Nice
who
old-
is only ever good.
Nice old man who is literally only ever pure and good. Fuck, it's good. It's a crazy scene where he single-handedly, without even realizing it, solves their marriage.
Exactly.
God, it rules.
Solves the marriage of a man who barely speaks the same language as him.
Yes. God. So, after all is said and done, Jin says, I got something pretty special here. Brings dinner to his wife, says, I know you had an affair a long time ago. I know I used to be a huge dingus. I really didn't treat you right at all. I was a horrible man. So, I forgive you if you can forgive me. We're in love. It's great. And they make up and it's great. So that's Sun and Jin's plot, and that's kind of the main central plot of the island. And Sun ends up deciding we're not going to go to Locke's camp because we got to get off this island because Juliet's right. Pregnant women are going to die. We got to get off the island.
That's
kind
pretty
of
much, yeah.
The other plot is Sayid and Desmond are on the boat.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that, honestly.
That's happening. The first scene that happens is
They have like 4 scenes or something.
they have a
It's
handful.
Not a lot.
They have not many scenes. The first scene is Frank Lapidus, who I keep hearing his names. People keep shouting Lapidus, and you know how that comes out as just penis.
The penis.
The penis. So the penis goes and he's like, I brought you guys some food, and he has a brown bag and he just dumps it out. And it's like fucking 10 tin cans of beans, and like that's too many beans, dude.
What a dick.
Yeah, it seems like a shitty move.
Real dick move
Mhm.
from the penis right
Mhm.
there.
And so later, they're sitting eating beans, and someone slips a little note through the door, and they open it up, and they're like, what the heck? This is mysterious. And it just says, don't trust the captain on it. Whoa.
Who could be doing that?
Who could be doing that?
What?
Later, they see a woman commit suicide by hopping off the side of the boat by being covered in chains.
That was wild.
That was pretty wild and weird, but then everybody's just kind of like chill, while Desmond and Sayid are like, what are you doing? You gotta get a rope to go help a donkey.
Is that a mix of Desmond and Sayid?
There was a little bit of Shrek in there too.
That
There's a little.
was no. You were just fully channeling Arnold from Jingle All the Way.
I
is what you were
was.
doing.
That was. I think I should not do impressions. I think I should just not do those.
I liked it.
Well, if you liked it, then hopefully our viewers liked it too.
It's gonna go over well. I think.
I think so.
We'll check the ratings on that one.
Yeah, if you liked that, be sure to comment on Facebook, add us on Twitter, send us personal mail at our home addresses, text us on our cellular devices, pigeon carrier, telegram fax.
Water my plants. I'm not doing it.
Water James's plants. They're dying.
They are.
Someone's got to water them.
Yeah.
Might as well be you. So this all ends up with them finally meeting this fabled captain, and the captain is very forthright with them in a way that's almost comical. He's just like, you guys probably have questions. Well, let me answer them all. Well, you're probably not going to tell us whose boat this is, are you? Sure I am. It's Charles Widmore. No problem. Yeah, it's Charles Widmore. Yeah, no big deal. No big mystery. Of course there's no mystery there.
It's just Charles Widmore.
Not a big deal. It's just Charles Widmore. And then they go up to the office, and the captain shows them a big honkin' black box that supposedly comes from Flight 815, except it doesn't really, because Flight 815 landed on the island, and there's a whole thing. You know, we don't have to dive into that whole thing. So the main thing that comes out of their whole scene is that they are shown to their room, and it's full of roaches and a blood stain, and they're like, and Buddy's like, whoa. They've gotta get this mopped up. Hey, Johnson, get over here. And who is Johnson? It is Michael. And so that's who the mysterious saboteur / helper is, helping them out, slipping them notes, breaking the engine, doing it all. It's been Michael the whole time. It's hard to describe these scenes because they have there's a lot of context to them, but nothing really happens in them. So. Yeah. It's definitely like the weakest part of the episode for sure. Is the boat
I
scenes.
barely remembered it. It didn't seem that interesting.
It isn't. It's not.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like small little details in the great puzzle of where's the freighter from? What's the deal? It's trying to advance that. But unlike other episodes, it doesn't really do such a good job of it. It's pretty much just like just like take me back to the characters I know, Sun and Jin.
Take me back to the paradise city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Oh, take me home.
What'd you think of this episode?
I thought it was pretty good. It was like above average, I would say. I liked the Sun and Jin story. I thought it was interesting.
I think it was good. Even the on-island stuff, which was a little clunky and weird sometimes. Yeah. Mostly resonated emotionally in a way that Sun and Jin stories normally don't for me.
Yeah,
because
that's exactly it.
Because it felt like there were stakes.
Exactly, there were stakes.
Yeah, like what's gonna happen to their baby? What's gonna happen to their relationship? It's in real peril now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And that whole twist at the end, as we talked about, is like, you know, even though they don't follow up on it, very well executed at the time.
It was good.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fine episode.
A fine episode that I don't mind.
If someone's like, hey, do you want to watch an episode of Lost? And you're like, hey, which one? And they're like, season 4, episode 7. I'd say go for it.
I say, why the heck not?
Yeah.
You may not understand what's going on the freighter, but that's fine. That's only like less than a third of the episode.
You can browse the net during those.
Yeah,
parts.
Exactly. You can check your
smartphone.
You've got a device in your pocket. You can just scroll through that. Ah, gosh. I think what a good episode.
Yeah,
it was an alright episode. When I said good episode just then, I meant the episode we just recorded because I think it was very good.
What a good episode.
Yeah. Congratulations on another good episode of the Island Shuffle.
Number 18.
Yeah,
we did it.
Number 18. It's a big, good number of episodes. Yay. Before we wrap up, I wanted to make one announcement. I've had a number of people approach me about the theme song to this episode. And they say, wow, the theme song's really good. Did you make it? Did James make it? And I'm complimented that you guys think that I would make such a cool thing. But I just wanted to clarify that no, it's not an original. It's a little composition from a video game called Mario Paint.
Mario Paint.
For the
We stole it.
We kind of did steal
Please
it.
don't sue
Please
us.
don't sue us, Nintendo.
How,
We're sorry.
So things become public domain after 50 years. How old's Mario Paint? Like 25 right now?
Well, I think it was released in 92 or 3. So it's
Like
about as old
25 years.
as me-ish.
Yeah.
Little younger than me, actually.
Uh-huh.
And so, no, it is definitely not public domain.
But I mean, it will take at least 25 more years for us to get through all of Lost.
True. By then, by the time anyone gives a heck about this crazy experiment, it'll be a non-issue, I'm sure.
Precisely.
And if it is, we can get a different theme song. That's fine.
It's fine.
That's just fine.
I think I still have all the old files on my
Yeah.
computer.
Yeah, we've got them all somewhere around here.
Yeah, we'll work it out. Don't worry about us.
Hey,
We'll
don't-
be okay.
Don't you worry about us. That's been another crazy episode of
Thanks
this
for
show.
listening.
Thanks for listening. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for listening.
What matters most is that you listen.
Can you just keep it real out there?
Yeah, please keep it real. Stay blasting off. And like we say at the end of every episode,